Here we are at Animal Kingdom.
I want to join the queue for the photo. Will you do that?
What photo? Oh, for that. Just wanted to record us going in.
Getting more with that, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Well, for some reason, it looked like it was still charging. It's really loose. The Tree of Life.
Hey! Hurry up! There he is. What? Oh my god!
Please remain seated at all times throughout our journey, no matter how exciting our safari becomes. Likewise, please keep those hands and arms inside the vehicle. Some of those bushes have some pretty long thorns on them, and we don't want anybody getting poked out there today. Located right above your heads there is a game spotting guide. Now that's going to help us identify some of the wildlife that we might see out there on the Harambe Wildlife Reserve. Due to the migration patterns, we really don't always see all of them. Every once in a while, we'll have pretty good luck. The animals will come up near the vehicle, but mostly their natural markings help them blend into their surroundings, keeping them well camouflaged, and they can be difficult to spot, so we'll keep our eyes peeled. Looks like on the other side of the river there's an okapi. Don't let the striping pattern on the hind legs of the okapi mislead you. They're actually the only known relative of the giraffe family. Yeah, that's right, the giraffe family. A very shy and reclusive animal, the okapi weren't discovered by the Western world till about 1901. Now our adventure today is going to take us through the Harambe Wildlife Reserve, which was established in 1971 and covers about 800 square miles worth of bush country. It's an awful lot of area to cover, so our adventure is going to take us through many different environments, all kinds of landscapes with rough and rugged terrain where we can spot a wide variety of animals. We're going to begin our travels right here in a Turi forest. A Turi is a Swahili word that means forest, so we're going to head deeper and deeper into the forest where we're going to circle right on around the old watering hole, an important gathering place for many of the animals here in the reserve, and our best opportunity to spot rare and endangered species like the big powerful black rhinoceros. The black rhinoceros have a skin over 1 inch thick. They can charge at speeds of over 35 miles an hour, and they can repel any predator except for man. Unfortunately, the black rhinoceros have been hit hard by the poaching. There's less than 5,000 black rhinos left in the wilds of Africa today, so we're pretty fortunate to see this magnificent creature. Now, a lot of the thick bush and dense vegetation that you see here in a Turi forest provides security for the animals that live here, as well as being a great food source for those animals that eat leaves and grasses, bushes, branches, twigs, bark, roots, shoots, and buds, like the greater kudu and the bongo up here on the side of the hill, these orange antelope with the white stripes. Bongo weigh in at about 450 pounds, and they're so rarely seen in the wilds of Africa that they're known as the ghosts of the forest. But we're going to make our way down to Safe River and see if we can spot some Nile hippopotamus. Even if we don't see any Nile hippopotamus, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're not there. See, the Nile hippopotamus spend a good majority of their day submerged under the water, keeping those big bodies of theirs from really overheating. And when hippos are submerged, they can hold their breath about 5 to 8 minutes at a time.
They're right there in the corner.
The Nile hippopotamus are nocturnal creatures, sleeping most of the day. but they'll venture out of the river in the evening times and use those big broad lips of theirs to eat all that grass you see growing along the riverbank's edge. They can eat about 100 pounds of vegetation per night. The white birds down on the island are pink-backed pelicans. The pink-backed pelicans have feathers on their back. They get a pinkish hue to them during mating season.
I'm gonna build my bed.
Just up ahead, there's a rickety old bridge, and underneath that rickety old bridge is a basket of Nile crocodiles.
Oh, that's
The
where
Nile
you go
crocodiles
for the
are so
thing.
large and aggressive that they can eat prey nearly twice their size. They feast on food like white-bearded wildebeest and zebras. They'll open up their mouths and clamp down shut with a jaw closing pressure of 1,200 pounds per square inch. So when those big guys grab onto something, boy, I'll tell you what, they just don't let go. Well, we're about to leave a Turi forest and we're going to head off into the savannah. It's a completely different ecosystem with completely different animals. And speaking of completely different, I want you to check out this ancient baobab tree. The ancient baobab tree has a nickname. The locals call it the upside down tree, and you can see why. It's because its branches look like roots sticking up into the sky. Actually, it looks like that most of the time too, because it only gets leaves about 3 months out of the year. Well, hold on to your safari hats, my friend. Coming up, it's the best view in the entire reserve, the savannah. Looks like we've discovered a herd of sable antelope. You might recognize the sable antelope as the official emblem of the Harambe Wildlife Reserve. Their big horns can grow 50 to 60 inches in length, and they oftentimes use them in displays of courtship and dominance. 5 little baby gazelles there, born in the last 2 to 3 months. Born right here on the reserve. Now the Serengeti grasslands stretch for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of miles across East Africa. It's the superhighway, if you will, for many millions of migrating animals like white-bearded wildebeest and zebras. It's also home to our more famous residents like lions and elephants. It's all part of the wild Africa that we've been working hard to protect, conserve, and save. And you see these big tall cones of earth? Those appear to be termite mounds. Termites will mix together dirt and saliva, then it'll bake in the hot sun and get so hard that elephants will use them as scratching posts. They'll rub up and down against them until they wear them down into small mounds. So when the antelope will come by, they'll stand on top of those mounds and they'll use them as lookout posts to try and spot lions and other predators who might be hiding in the tall grass. See, the look of the beautiful savanna landscape was pretty much created by the animals that live here. For example, the elephants are like the big bulldozers pushing down these trees because they love to eat that tasty bark and then let the grasses spread. The giraffe are more like pruning shears. They're so big and tall. They eat the leaves off the trees, allowing more sunlight to shine in. Large antelope and zebra mow down the grasses so that the new shoots can pop up, and then little itty-bitty nibblers like warthogs and gazelles will come along and trim around the edges. In a balanced natural system, there's enough food for everybody. In fact, I think it's pretty neat how all these animals can live together in harmony in the same area without ever really fighting for the same food source. Take the sable antelope, for example. Some people might say that they have an aggressive personality, but they eat the rough, tough grasses that the other antelopes won't eat, so they're pretty important in the ecosystem. The gray antelope in the thick bush here are white-bearded wildebeest. The white-bearded wildebeest are part of the largest herd migration left in Africa. With their dark faces and their sinister look, their name is literally translated wild beasts. And on the opposite side, off into the distance, there's some Collie cattle. They're laying down in front of those tall bushes. You see their horns from here. They can grow 5 to 6 feet in length and nearly 20 inches in circumference at the base. And in front of those short little dry grasses, about midway up the hill, that's a springbok, that little tan gazelle. Springbok are amazing creatures that run in a zigzag pattern to avoid predators, but then they can make these fantastic leaps of over 10 feet or more in a single bound. Giraffes are the tallest mammals on the planet. They're so tall, in fact, that when the babies are first born and you were standing on the ground, you'd probably look them right in the eye. It's the Maasai giraffe. Maasai giraffe are recognizable because their spot pattern has a jaggedy edge. Giraffes normally spend about 16 hours a day munching away on food. That's how they maintain that 2,500-pound body of theirs. We're going to pass by Monkey Point. Monkey Point is home to a troop of mantua monkeys. Mantua monkeys are Africa's largest monkey. The big male monkeys weigh in at about 100 pounds, and they're easily recognizable by their colorful blue and red monkey faces. Mantua monkeys will spend a good portion of their day involved in monkey business. They'll be eating monkey food and playing monkey games and grooming each other in a monkey fashion. It's all part of their family bonding structure. Elephants might seem like they have pretty tough skin, but it's actually quite sensitive and they can easily get sunburned. So oftentimes they'll throw mud and dirt on their back, which acts as a natural sunscreen, and it helps keep the insects off as well. As we continue on our journey, though, we're going to keep a lookout for more elephants. Unfortunately, we've been seeing less and less elephants these days. The elephant population has been declining due to a loss of natural habitat. Miners have been coming into the area and drilling for a rare ore known as coltan. Coltan is that mineral that's found in your laptops and your cell phones. But by simply recycling your electronic devices, you can help protect these beautiful creatures and save the elephants.
I think it's better at recording constantly than on, off, on, off.
Well, it's another rickety old bridge. Maybe better just hang on to the kids and cross those fingers. Uh-oh, did somebody forget to cross those fingers? Well, it could have been out. No worries, my friends, we made it. But that sure could have been a close one. We find ourselves down here in the red clay pit where we see footprints and tusk marks. Means the elephants have been through here, digging out that clay and eating it for the beneficial minerals that it provides to their diet. Elephants live in a matriarchal society, and they're wonderfully social creatures. They have moods, sympathies, and emotions. Well, let's see if we can get a little music on the radio here.
Exhausting.
Up on the grassy knoll, there's some cheetahs. Cheetahs are the fastest life. They can run at speeds of about 60 miles an hour when chasing their prey. And cheetahs are built for speed. They have a slender body and a 3-foot-long tail that they use for balance. And their claws are always extended like dog paws, so they can turn on a dime when chasing their prey. There's a couple more cheetahs. A group of cheetahs is called a coalition. Just up ahead, there's some big tall rocks that jet out of the ground. Those are the Kobe rocks. That big island of rocks creates a vantage point where big cats like to hang out and survey the savanna for prey. Up on the bluff, there's some white rhinoceros. And the antelope, or bontebok. Their chestnut-colored coat gets a purplish gloss to it when they eat a lot of copper. The white rhinoceros get their name from the Afrikaans word bite, meaning wide, in reference to their big broad lips and wide jaw. A herd of Grant zebras. Grant zebras are actually black animals with white stripes. You can tell that from the color of the skin on their nose. And each zebra has its own unique and individual pattern, just like our own fingerprints. No two are the same. A zebra's best defense against predators is a powerful kick. It's so powerful, in fact, that they can break the jaw of a lion just like that. Lions normally live about 18 hours a day. Lions are the only big cats that live and hunt and work together cooperatively in what is known as prides. Contrary to popular belief, it's the females of the pride who do most of the hunting, while the males stay back and protect the copies. At the base of that tree in the middle of our viewing area is a couple of warthogs, Africa's largest burrowing mammal. Down in the dirt there's a small nest of ostrich eggs. It's not uncommon for the ostrich to lay their eggs out in the open like that. After all, those eggs have a pretty tough shell on them. They have to. Mom weighs nearly 300 pounds, so I guess it's a good thing that bird cannot fly. The white rhinoceros have small eyes and weak vision, which unfortunately can make them a pretty easy target for poachers. Poachers have been getting ever more sophisticated equipment, and with the high value that's placed on those horns on the black market, it's getting tougher and tougher to protect these beautiful creatures and harder to stop the poachers. Adventure is about to take us through the newest edition of our Harambe Wildlife Reserve, Magadi Glen. Magadi is a Swahili word that means soda, and at first I thought it meant like soda pop, but it actually just refers to the calcium and lime deposits in this area. The white birds here are yellow-billed storks. Yellow-billed storks like to eat fish, frogs, snakes, and even other small birds. And here's some geysers just bubbling and gurgling and squirting and spraying out of the ground. Geysers that are formed by plates under the Earth's surface that shift, allowing hot water and steam to escape. And you know who we don't want to escape? The poachers. That's why the Harambe Wildlife Reserve has been working very closely with the locals that live in and around the area to provide economic incentives and alternatives to poaching. In the end, it is the goal of conservation to balance the needs of animals and humans along with their own environment. That way, everybody wins. Well, I personally want to thank each and every one of you for joining us today here at Kilimanjaro Safari as we traveled on board Simba 1 across the Harambe Wildlife Reserve on our photo adventure in search of wild African animals. And if there's more African animals that you're hoping to see, man, it's the Pangani Forest Exploration Trail. Head on down Pangani Trail. That's where you're going to spot those black and white colobus monkeys, meerkats, western lowland gorillas, plus many, many more animals. The adventure